here we go. This is part 3. So here's where I'm at with this character. Let's turn off the music on this. So we have our character come in. I started realizing I'm probably spending a little bit too much time on this, so I'm going to try to go a little bit faster with how I bring in these characters, because I'm just taking too long on this project altogether. And sometimes that happens, and that's okay. So the next thing I'm just gonna jump right into bringing in the head. And this is the head for the character that I have, and I'll just show you what it's composed of. So we have a few things. We have the lower part of the face here. We have the nose, which is 2 layers. The eyebrows. We have this hat, which is currently one shape, but we're gonna have to make a version of it where it's facing the left. We have the beard, so the mustache. We have the beard. We have this piece back here, which is actually not aligned properly, but it's sort of like, I would say it's like the back of the beard, where it would be sort of like behind the head, and also connecting possibly to, I don't know how realistic it is, but connecting to like sort of this part of the hair. And then we have the back of the head hair. So, and then this is the head. So all of this together should be ideal for creating a head turn somewhat. I don't know how detailed I'm going to get into the head turn, honestly, because like I said, I'm taking a bit too long on this project. Even though it's a personal project, I don't want to spend forever on it, and I'd like to be able to animate these projects a bit faster. So I guess I'll just jump in. Let's see. So I think the first thing I'll do is go right into here. I'll take my Overlord plugin. I'll make sure that split shape layers is on, because we need these to be all on separate layers. And I will push it to After Effects by clicking that button. And you see that they are here. Here they are. Here's the head. And here's all the layers. But, you know, everything is, it's obviously too big, and I feel like there's too many layers happening in this scene, so I'm going to press Control-Shift-C, and I'm going to call this, what is this, guys? This is the Fireman head. And I'll just call it Fireman Head 01. And this is the first time we're using him, so I'll just put 01 Fireman Head 01 in case we want to make duplicates. Move everything over. Good, so now we have this pre-comp. And I'll press the left bracket to bring the layer here. I also have this really handy plugin. I don't know if it's open right now, but it's called Auto Crop. Super useful. If you press this, it'll just crop the composition to the boundaries of the layer. Okay, cool. So you'll probably notice that I don't really have a neck on this character, but I think for the purpose of this character, it's not very necessary. So I pressed Y, and I'm just going to drag the anchor point to about where I feel like the head would pivot on this character. And I'm just going to place it, scale it down, sort of place it where I feel like it would go. Probably somewhere like here. Lower, play around with this. And I'll just attach it to the torso. I think, look, it's number 24, so I can just, there we go. now we got our head, the character of our head. Now if I was being just, you know, if I wanted to just get this done quickly, honestly, this could be enough, but you know, we want to bring some life, a little bit more life to these characters. So I think that, first of all, right here, you know, we could add a little bit of fake 3D. I think the first thing I can do just on the pre-comp alone is, you know, bring the head over, because we know that, you know, realistically it would be a little bit more like right here. And I'll just follow, I believe the torso is, let's see, where's the torso? Number 24. So the torso, we see, comes in. I'm basically just trying to find where exactly the turn happens. So the torso shirt is where the turn really happens. So, and I think I might have even just nailed it. Like I'm basing it off these keyframes. There we go. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Okay, good. So I'm going to copy the E's on these keyframes. So we can see that that's the E's. I'm going to highlight these keyframes, E's copy those keyframes, and then highlight these keyframes, E's, and now we've got the same E's. So there's a bit of I feel like possibly the head would be a little bit further out, possibly. The E's doesn't change if I start adjusting the keyframes, by the way, which is really nice. But let's see how that looks. Honestly, it's not super noticeable, but that's okay, because you know the head isn't turning whatsoever. So I feel like let's end here, or let's start here. I'm actually going to make the size of this a little bit bigger so that we have some room. It doesn't get cut off, but we do have to reposition this. You have to land on one of the keyframes, highlight them both, and just kind of place them, and there we go. Okay, good. So now I will just go ahead and name these. It might take me a second, but you know, it's worth naming your layers. So left eyebrow, right eyebrow, nose top. I don't even know if it's necessary to have the nose broken up like this, but we'll say left under eye, right under eye, hat. I guess this would be the right eye, even though it's just basically a shadow. Left eye. I know that that's not capitalized. Forehead line 1. I'll just copy this. Forehead line 2. Right stash. Did I name these right? Yeah, I did. Right stash. This is the left stash. This is the beard. This is the head top. Head bottom. Oh, it looks like I did include a neck in here. Okay. Yeah, because look at that. We've got a neck. How necessary it is to have the neck, I'm actually not sure right now, but I'll name it anyway. Neck. This is beard back. I'll just say back beard. And I believe this is the back hair. And not back hair, but back head hair. Okay, so first thing I'll do is I'll just, you know, fix some of the anchor point positions. I think that the nose could probably be controlled by a null. Call this nose control. That's fine. I think that, honestly, since a lot of the overall head motion is happening in the other composition, I don't think it's actually necessary to do too much here as far as anchor points go. Obviously, like since these are being controlled directly in here, that would be important, but why don't we just jump in and just do some, let's start with the position keyframe. Just keyframe them all. And if you hold, excuse me, if you press tab, you can see the composition that your pre-comp is in. So I'm going to just go straight back here. And the great thing about that is if I go back and forth, going here, I'm on this keyframe. If I go back here and then I go to the beginning and then go back in here, I'm directly where I need to be. So we can just start messing around with this to create, it might not even be position, frankly, that's needed for a lot of this. Like, I think, you know, we'll start with the head. Just solo them. And honestly, I think maybe position will be used here, but I feel like a lot of it might even be just the path as well. So I'll press Control F, type in path, and just create a keyframe for those, press U, and then drag those back over here. So let's see if I'm not really the best at I'm not an amazing artist, so getting the proportions correctly on, you know, the side view and stuff isn't my strong point, but, you know, I'll probably do a little bit of this. So position is changed. Grab the path of the bottom, and I'll grab these and probably just bring them, maybe, let's see, what's the best way to do this? I'll try it like this. I'll drag this point here. That looks kind of odd. I think the side of the head. I mean, the mustache will be covering a lot of it, but I think that this might be fine actually. Let's see. I can adjust this a little bit better. I think it looks a little. Those curves aren't doing it for me. Let's see if I do this. Honestly, like I said, I don't want to spend so much time on this that I end up like not getting anything done, which I guess is the challenge with any personal projects. You want it to be good, but at the same time, you also want it to be done. I think that that's fine for now. I'll just you know, we can always adjust it later if it's not looking right. So next I'll try, let's do the nose actually. So nose control, and you know what, we'll just turn on the layers that we're going to be using. So I'll turn on the nose, and let's see, the nose I guess would look something like this, probably up, and let's see, the paths here are going to be interesting. So I'm going to keyframe the paths just like I did before, drag them over here. I think that this one, what's great about bringing layers into After Effects directly from Illustrator is that it actually brings them in as with the vertices. So I feel like because it's a side view, it would look more like this. And then the bottom would probably just be a little bit more like a circle, like this. And then I will, whoops. Okay. I'll get the position of this one, just keyframe it, drag it over there. And then I think something like that. You know, more or less. Press Control-Shift-H to turn off the lines. I don't know if this is going to look very good. but you know, this is why we practice. So yeah, I feel like that wasn't a good move of raising this up. Okay, that's starting to look like something. I don't hate that. But you know what's bothering me is this side of the path would be going the other way. So maybe I'll just drag these this way. Let's see how that looks now. That looks a bit more like a head turn, I think. I think this nose could be a little better. I'll grab the position of the top and maybe even drag that over like this. And then drag these. Let's see how that looks. It's interesting. You know what I'm not liking very much actually is this side, the right side. So if I go back into the position of this, drag it out, I can just, I feel like it would just look more like that. And that might make everything a lot more simple. Yeah, I think that looks better already. Okay, I don't hate it. And then, you know what, maybe this moving so much, the position of this guy, that's not even necessary. It's kind of spherical when you look at it. So maybe it's just, yeah, might not even need to move at all, frankly. Let's see. And again, you know, a lot of this is just trial and error. I mean, you can follow a bunch of tutorials and you know, you're not going to necessarily get it right on the first try when you practice this sort of thing. It's one of those things where you kind of need to put yourself through it and, you know, get a feel for the layers and the shapes, and, you know, there's no shame in not getting it right. But, you know, you should practice, and that's what I'm doing. I do think that now that I've adjusted the position there, I could change this. I'm just gonna, you know, keep everything totally in line like this. Whoops. It's very useful to have autosave, by the way. My computer crashes randomly. So, okay, I'm digging that. I think that's okay. So what do we want to try next? We could try the left and right stash. So we know that the stashes look like this. Let's see how it looks if we just go to position and then drag the position over. So first of all, I think that this stash would be a lot more over. I'll even press Shift and grab Shift R, grab the rotation, and even just do that. I think that the path might even shorten. Let's see. I'm not going to mess with the path yet. I'm just going to keep messing with these. And whoops, I don't think I actually I have not keyframed the rotation on this yet. So this would come back this way, and I know it's not going to. So this stash actually doesn't look too terrible to me, but this other one is not it, as the kids say. So I'm gonna press Control F, path. I'm gonna keyframe the path, drag it over. So what I'm thinking would happen is the path of this mustache would probably shorten a lot. And let's just see. I mean, maybe that looks like crap. No, that actually does not look bad. Look, Mom, I made it. Let's try let's also mess with the rotation a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm feeling like the path on this side might also shorten. And let's just see. Control F, type in path, keyframe it, press U, drag the keyframe over here. Whoops. Highlight, press V, select these vertices, and just drag them up a little bit. That's not terrible, but now it kind of looks like the mustache. Well, let's see, the mustache extends out, so it's not really hanging down. So I do think that this is probably actually pretty good. I do think that this may even be more here, and I might have to drag it behind the head. So like, it would come back out. So let's see what this would look like if I just chop it in half here. Maybe even drag these over. Okay. That's not bad. Something's bothering me about this angle though. I'm gonna adjust the rotation here. And then, you know what? How should I do this? Because these are now disconnected, right? And I want these to be the same the whole time, even if it's splitting. So I'm gonna actually delete these keyframes, and I'm just going to alt-click on the rotation, pick whip the rotation. I'm gonna alt-click on the position, pick whip the position. Whoops, I think I picked whip the wrong thing. Position, delete that. Position, and then also pick whip the path. So now these will always be the same. So even if I can't change anything here, but if I, change the rotation here, it'll change up there. So that's good. Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying that I didn't really like, it's not too bad. I want to just see, press tab, go over to this layer, and see how that looks. It's gonna look real funky. But actually, I can already tell it's looking okay. Let's just play it back. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's missing a lot of the other pieces, but that's a head turn. That's a legitimate head turn. We could even match the speed graph of these to the keyframes in the layer, but let's not worry about that right now. The next thing we're going to do is the beard. So let's grab the beard, which is this one, turn it on, and I think I might just animate the path for this. Control F, type path, keyframe. And I think that the beard, so on the side of the head, the beard is probably going to extend to the back hair. So we would drag these layers, maybe even, whoa, that looks like crap immediately. Maybe, let's grab the position. Whoops, shift. Oh, it's already, I forgot that I already keyframed the position. We're gonna drag this here. I'm gonna take we're gonna go like that, and we're just testing it out right now. So, this is interesting. I want that to be more like that. That's fine. So this is where I think actually the neck might come in, because there's the neck, and it gives us something to show behind, but why don't we just keep piecing it together, and we might mess with that even further, but honestly, I don't hate what I'm seeing. Wow, I've already been recording for, let's see, 25 minutes, huh? Okay, so let's keep messing around. Why don't we start with the back beard area. So this is interesting because it's sort of the back of the head. I feel like it would be in the front at this point. So let's pull up the path, Control F, just type in path, drag it over to this side. We'll drag this way, and then we'll drag this way, and I feel like there might be, you know what I'll do is, I'm gonna duplicate this and bring it to the front. And I'm going to make this path its own thing. I'm going to drag these this way. And then I think at this point, you know, it would be sort of here, maybe the position would change. So position's right here, and then the position would actually it would kind of come out about here, and then it would actually go behind back in. So at this point, maybe it splits. Let's turn this off and see what happens. Maybe more like this. There's no motion here. That's strange. Let's change the path, I think. Set a keyframe on the path. You just double click it. And then drag the position here. It's actually, there's something about that I am liking, but then it needs to keep going. So maybe it keeps going, and then maybe I just really crush this, like this. It looks a little bit strange, doesn't it? So I'm wondering if maybe at some point, just play it so I can just feel what it feels like. I mean, that looks awful, but I think that it would sort of come around. It has to do a little bit of like a rotation around this faux 3D head. So let's see, it would come like that, and then maybe, I don't like that it just cuts off, so maybe this just, like, we do it best as possible just to make it feel like it went back around. Oops. I don't know how this is gonna look. I don't hate that, but now it's like adding an element that wasn't there before. I don't like that. See how it looks in the main comp. I feel like also the thing with character animation is it's a bit one of those things where it's like there's some unexpected parts to it where you might end up adding something, or you want to just get what looks correct, and you know what looks correct when you see it. Now we can see that this element here just sort of disappears. So I think I might even just keep it on. But now we have to sort of introduce it on the other side. So that's sort of interesting. I guess we can call this right sideburn, and then we call this left sideburn. And let's see, if we just drag, let's change the position first. Change it here. Obviously that looks funky. Funnily enough, even though it's going all the way back over, I don't think that looks very bad. Though I will say that this could probably be smaller. How do I just want to drag the corner. There we go. So I think that it would actually be cut off here. Oh, that's weird. It gets smaller. So let's drag the position up, I guess. Let's not do that. Let's just take the path. So what's happening is it's getting shorter. So let's just drag the top of the path up a bit. Do it on this side. And I know it doesn't look like it's coming out from the other side, so maybe what I'll do is I will actually just take this sideburn and bring it below the head. But it needs to, let's see. Let's just play that in the main composition and see how that looks. I don't hate it. Well, they disappear. But honestly, it looks like a head turn. We got our character, he's, turning his head. Okay, so I'll just make sure that these stay in the shot the whole time. Just drag them all the way out. There's a much easier way to do this. Okay, now let's go ahead and do we did the stash. We can do the back hair piece. So start with the position, I guess. And maybe change the path. So Control F, type in path, keyframe the path, press U, drag this over here, and I guess it would just be short on this side. So that doesn't look bad. The only thing that's really missing is sort of this side. It would sort of wrap around the head, right? Because that's what your hair does, it wraps. So I would say what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add another piece, and I'll just make it like this. And call this right side hair, and I'm going to just, I will convert this, actually I won't convert it, I'll just grab the position, go here, go to the end, and see how this looks. So it would only really start coming in once we get to this angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the path. Actually, no, because we didn't convert it into its Bezier path. So instead, I'll grab, whoops, I just deleted that. I will highlight this and put in size, and let's try just keyframing the size as it goes along. And I will just keyframe the X, and then if I just have it off and then have it turn on, no, I actually needed it this way. Oh, I screwed up. I'll drag this over here, and then this I will just bring in like this. And by here, I feel like it might just disappear. Or maybe it would stay a little bit and then disappear right here. I feel like once it starts showing the actual head shape, but I don't like that you can see this rounded piece here. So you know what I will do is I'm going to Control Spacebar, FX Console from Video Copilot. I'm going to put in a set matte, and I'm going to, this will make it so I can use this top headpiece as a mask. And let's see, head top. So now it does this, but now we're getting this little piece here, and I don't want that either. So you can actually add more than one matte. So if I add another set matte, I believe that I can actually add the bottom as well. Oh, now it's like doing something weird. That's not what I wanted. Okay, let's think about this. We don't want to show that top piece. See, this is sort of the problem with having the head not be one complete piece. So I could just duplicate it. This might be a bit messy, but it does work. You see there's this kind of like line going on here, and if you just add a simple choker, I believe you can adjust that. No, something I wanted to do. I believe grow bounds? No, that grow bounds wouldn't do that. Matte choker. Just turn this off. It starts creating this weird black line on the other side, which I don't like either. I wonder if I add a simple choker to that, if it'll counterbalance it. I mean, no. Just kind of makes it back to where it was. In fact, it makes it a little bit worse. Why don't we try adding maybe a stroke? See if that helps. Not really. How do I get rid of that little line there? It should just work, you know? Like, why doesn't it just work? Full? Oh, changing it to full seemed to work. No, because now it's just showing it again. So that didn't work. Alpha channel. Go back to alpha channel on this one. I think maybe on the actual head top, we could add a simple choker and just maybe increase the output a little bit, or just choke it a little bit. And then also I'm just going to copy this and do it to the head bottom as well. Yeah, that seemed to work. Okay, got a bit of a head turn here. And let's see how it looks in the main cop. It's looking pretty good. Now I could add all sorts of animation here too, where, you know, I could have it, the head is coming, you know, he's coming up, so maybe the head would be maybe back a little bit. It's just, maybe it's like this. And then when he comes around, sort of lags behind. At this point, it's really turned this way, and then it comes down this way, and then just sort of straightens out. And if I ease those, let's see how that looks. Sometimes I get a little bit ahead of myself with these things, but I feel like that makes it look a little bit more natural. But we still have to add all the other elements. And then I think also, again, I don't want to take forever on this, but you know, I'm doing this to practice my character animation. I think that it would be cool if, you know, rather than his arm just swinging around, he actually like grabbed a piece of the coal from the top of the pile there. And I feel like those, you know, little interactions like that just add so much to a scene. And you know, this is my purpose of doing all of this in the first place is to get better at character animation, and I really want to tell children's stories or communicate ideas in a way that children could understand, but even in a way that would be entertaining for adults to watch. So, you know, I just want it to be as visually interesting as possible while still communicating the message. And I want it to feel professional and all that stuff. And, you know, it's a journey. I'm getting there. Nobody's paying me to do this right now, at least not this project. But, you know, it's good to put in this practice, and that's my philosophy for the day. Okay, good. Let's just keep going. So, good. We got a bit of our head turn going. Let's see. What would we want to do next? Shall we do the eyebrows? See how that looks? I'm having fun with this, even if it's really tedious. And even though nobody watches these, I'm still having a good time. Okay, so the eyebrow, at least the right eyebrow, would be above it would sort of stick out from the head like this, right? And I think that, you know, what I could do, turn this back on, Control-Shift-H to bring up the bounding boxes. Probably do something like this. And then I think that I would just simply add a set mat to these. So set mat, and wrap around the head top. And no, because then I need it to be in front. Like, that's not bad, you know? Like, I could just call it a day and be like, oh, I mean, it is bad. I could just call it a day and say, yep, that's a head turn. See how it disappears? But I feel like that's a bit lazy, and I think that there's a better way. So I'm going to delete the set mat. I'm going to open up the path options, and I think I'm just going to animate the path itself. And I will just drag it down like this. Make it basically a circle. Ooh, that looks like That looks like trash. I could even just use a stroke to create these eyebrows and then animate the stroke, and that actually might be the smart thing to do. But this, again, like sometimes you can just do a quick and dirty. There's many ways to do the same thing in After Effects. Like that's sort of the point is there's a lot of ways to achieve the same result, and it just depends how quickly you want to get there and whatever. So I think that that's fine. I just feel like maybe here it's kind of, it seems to be like it has like a weird rotation going, so I might want to just like how's that? Do we like that? It's okay. You know, now I kind of want the beard to be a little bit longer, so let's go back to the beard now that I'm seeing everything. I think that I would just highlight everything and just kind of drag it over. Now I'll kind of lose the neck, but I want to just see what things look like without the sideburns because they weren't in the original design, and now it's kind of bothering me that they're there. See how it kind of just cuts off there? Like, ideally, these would actually be the same shape because it's actually not necessary for them to be separated like this. But I think at this point, you know, we'll just, you know, call it like fine because, you know, this is a learning experience and we don't need it to be absolutely perfect. And also, again, this is a personal project, so, you know, no one is holding me accountable except myself, and I can just call it a learning experience. Okie doke. I am really liking how this is looking. That does feel like a proper head turn. I spent so much time on the scarf in the earlier streams, and now you don't even see it, but that's showbiz, baby. Alrighty, let's keep going. I believe now we could add some of our, we could do the eye, we could do the head, the forehead, which is, you know, that's easy. Grab the position, go forward. Whoops. Where are these bad boys? Here they are. You can just drag them right here, and we'll just add a set mat. And just make the head top. And we just copy this set mat and paste it onto the other one. Perfect. Now we will, I kind of just want to like go for doing the hat because I'm a little bit concerned. Like I'm not very confident in my ability to do that hat. Where is the hat? Here it is. So the hat is going to be interesting because A, it should just be on top of everything. I think it's going to be a lot about the path animation here, so I might even just remove the position and just pull up the paths. And it's made up of multiple shapes, but let's just jump right in and see how we can get this to look right. So I think that it would sort of shorten like this. This would sort of still be, whoa, I don't know what that was about. maybe it would like sort of, I don't know what this hat looks like from the side, frankly. But let's just, I don't know, let's just keep messing around with it. Worst thing if worst comes to worst, I can just re-import this hat, and you know, if we're not happy with it. Good. Drag this guy, just shorten it, and how would this hat look? This might be super messed up. I mean, the top doesn't look bad. Obviously, the mask on the little circle here would have to be better, but it's mostly that little lip that I am concerned about. So I'm gonna try this again. I'm going to copy and paste this, and I think this is what it looks like on the side. So it would come out. Whoops. I'm going to. Oh, can I not even lock those? I'm going to drag this way. I'm going to. I think I'm just going to have to animate these paths sort of like, you know, just make it look like something. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna not get this right off the bat. It's gonna look weird, and that is actually totally fine with me. I don't mind if I struggle at this for a little while, because I want to, you know, fail. I want to fail. I want to feel. I want to experience something not looking right and then correcting it until it does. Because that's the way to improve at any skill. It's also the way to, you have to be willing to experience, you know, failure in any artistic endeavor, because some artists are, you know, naturally very talented and they have a bit of a leg up, but really when it comes to technical proficiency, when it comes to being good at anything, it's like the best in the industry, in any industry, are the people who took the time to do this and spend just a good amount of time experiencing, you know, just some hardship with it and disappointment, and that's totally fine. It'll make you better, and it's made me better. I've been animating for 10 years, and there are animators who have been animating for a much shorter time than me, but who are way better. And honestly, I feel like the reason for that is they put in the work, they put in the effort, and I commend them. And, you know, as long as you are willing to put in the time and the effort, you will become professional. So this looks okay to me, actually. I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. I'm gonna call this the lid. This will be the circle, and this will be the hat. I'll just call it the hat. And, you know, it's not that bad. It's really not, considering, you know. I think that it could be smoothed out a bit. Maybe like it just sort of, you know, you have to put in a bit of there's a concept in frame by frame animation called a breakdown. And the breakdown is the pose between two extreme poses. So if you have a happy face and then an angry face, the breakdown would be what is the pose between. So in After Effects, you kind of do have to, you know, create those every once in a while, and I think that looks a little bit better. I would even, I don't want to highlight all of them. I could even just drag this up a little bit. And that might help. Yeah, we got ourselves a cool head turn. There we go. So how am I going to make this circle? Well, I will show you. How will I make this circle so it disappears? I didn't really even finish that sentence. So I'm going to duplicate the hat, and I'm going to put it above, and I'm actually going to delete the keyframes on the hat for the path, and I'm going to highlight, or I'm going to pick whip the hat path for hat 2 to 1, and then I'm going to, I'll just call this hat, so that for clarity's sake, call it hat matte. I'm going to highlight these and press Ctrl G to group them. So I'll call this circle and hat group. It's really useful to name your layers. I'm also going to be giving away these project files when I'm done, so anybody can go in and, you know, look at it closely if they want to, if at all. So I'm going to add a merge paths, and merge paths it has a few options. Right now it's on add, but if I go to intersect, it should make it so that circle is masked. So it takes the top layer and it uses, it's a little bit strange, it uses the top layer as a mask. So you just have to be aware of that and make sure that you're not, you know, you have your order correctly and that sort of thing. But that doesn't look too shabby. I was actually pretty worried about that, and I think it actually looks okay. I will say that these sides poking out here, I feel like would be a little bit more obvious, but I think that this works. Let's check it out. Let's see how the hat. Pretty good. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Is the text disappearing? Yeah, I hate when that happens. If you press the tilde key, you can actually just expand like any palette to be full screen. So I can make this full screen, or make the effects palette full screen, or if I go to project, make that full screen. It's really useful if you're just trying to do one thing. And that is it's just below the escape key if you don't know where the tilde key is. I believe tilde is the, I don't remember if it's I don't remember which, honestly I don't remember which symbol it is, one of those two symbols. Okay, good. Now, you know, I still need to do like the eyes, and I still need to do the cheek area, but I will say that this is looking pretty good. And I feel like I've gone a bit faster this time, which I'm happy about. Good personal goal for me there. So we could add a bit of exaggeration to this. I mean, it may not be necessary. This does look pretty good as is, frankly. Like that looks decent. But if you really want to, you could add like a bend it effect, CC bend it. If you know, you have to add a 2comp value expression to the start and the end, or else they'll just, if you don't add those, what happens is the start and the end stay in the same place even while the pre-comp is moving. So what the 2comp value expression does, and I don't know expressions very well, but I know like what I need. It'll make it so the start and the end actually attach to the layer so that it doesn't change all these. It doesn't make it so it's like the whole thing gets all wonky and warpy. So I'm just going to highlight this. I'm going to copy it and just paste it to the end as well. Now we have to find this is the start. So start would be here, end would be up top. And if you watch, you can see they stay in that position, but you need to make sure it's actually in the proper position. There we go. See? So now this, you can see the start and the end here. They stay in the right position for the most part. So if I add a bend, looks a little funny. Maybe I'll just drag the start just below. So we got ourselves a little bit of a head bend here, but it's like warping a bit. So let's see if we can just make it so everything is centered properly. So what I like to do, and what I feel like is, see now it's all weird over there. So what I like to do, and this I actually learned from Emmanuel Colombo's Motion Secrets course, is the bended effect is, it goes in conjunction with the rotation. So you can see that, I just set a keyframe. If I go to this keyframe on the rotation of the head, and the rotation is going towards the right, so I'm going to increase the strength and have it exaggerate that motion. Then it goes to the left, and I'm going to have it go to the left, and then it goes centered. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy the ease. So it's copying the ease of these 4 keyframes. I'm gonna highlight these 4 keyframes and ease it, and then I'll just offset it a little bit because those little offsets add a lot of detail. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean it's subtle, but you know, you still, it makes them look just like a little bit more bouncy. I think it creates a pretty cool effect. Now, it may be too much, you know, it depends what you're trying to achieve with your character, but I think it looks pretty good for this project, since this is a more cartoony, children-friendly project. And yeah, let's keep going. We're at about the hour mark, so I think what I'll do is I'll just really quickly do the eyes, even though I don't know how easy it's going to be, and that's honestly why I avoided it. But you know, I'll highlight all the layers, Control A to highlight the layers, and I'll just turn off the soloing, and we'll go to, let's just go to the end of this. I could also add a bit of a mustache movement to sort of lag behind as well, and maybe we'll do that as well. I've got a bit more time today. It's Thanksgiving in a couple days, and I'm feeling pretty lazy. So I'm going to bring up the position. I'm going to just drag this up, and let's bring up the nose control, because that's a nice safe bet. And we'll just so we got the under eye and we got the eyes, and I'll just bring up the position of both, and I will just do this, and I'll drag these eyes, the left eye, the left under eye, or sorry, the right eye. Oh, see, I mislabeled this. This is the left eye. This will be left under. Whoops. Left under eye. I'm confusing myself over here. Right under eye. And these two would be, they wouldn't quite go too far with the head turn. And I think, you know, maybe just a simple set mat. What was it that had the set mat on it? These guys, the forehead lines. So I'm going to copy the set mat of these. I'm also going to just make these a different color so you can just see them better. But that should, I mean, that's sort of the quick and dirty solution. It doesn't look bad, frankly. It's really not bad. But I think what I could do is, this is the under eye. I'm just gonna squeeze this a bit, so I'll pull up the scale, drag it to the end there, and I think that maybe, you know, something like, I don't know, maybe it looked fine. You know, I actually do think it looked okay, just being like that. So we got our head turn, looks pretty good. I do think that he doesn't have any expression. It's literally just a head turn, so it's not like he doesn't really quite feel alive to me. And these are, my standards are too high, frankly. And if I remember correctly, let's see. Okay, yeah. So this left stash and this right stash, when they come over, let's take a look at our guy. So he, at this point, is swinging his head down. So right here, the mustache would probably be swinging in the opposite direction as a little bit of secondary motion. So what we could do is, what is the best way to do this? I think, you know what, I'll try the right stash first, and I'll change these back to blue. You can tell when I start having fun with this is when it starts becoming really challenging. It's both fun and extremely infuriating. But what I think I'm going to do is add a transform effect. And I believe, oh yeah, do not like that. Stupid. How do we make this work? Because I want to add a rotation. Oh, you know what I could do? Instead of adding a transform effect, I can literally just add a null and parent it. So if I go here, I can put a null there, call it right stash null. And this is also the benefit of working in a pre-comp for just a head, is that you can sort of start adding, you know, like when you actually look at it, it's not that many layers. It's a lot of keyframing, but it's not too many layers. So this null will control the rotation. And let's go back to our main comp and just kind of get an idea of where things are at here. So here I feel like is where the stash would be really exaggerated this way. And I know this is not going to look great. See, this is not going to look really good. But then it comes up, and maybe it doesn't come up until about here. So it comes up, and then as he's coming down, it continues to go up. So maybe even like this. And then maybe it comes back down and then it settles. So I'm going to just add, I'm going to highlight these keyframes. I'm going to add an easy ease, just a normal easy ease. And we'll just see what it looks like. I mean, if it looks bad, it looks bad. But we can adjust it. It does, I mean, like, I don't hate that. I do think that it's a little too, like maybe here it's a little too far down. But really, I mean, and then maybe it comes down a little bit too far in this pass. But that's not, I don't hate it that, like it's not bad. I don't hate it that much. I don't hate it. And maybe we can make his eyebrows raise up and make him pick up one of the pieces of coal and look at it. But that's, I don't hate that. Let's do the other stash now. I'm beginning to feel a bit of appreciation for this project. In fact, I wonder if I just parent this. Let's see. No, that looks strange. If I parent both of these to this, let's see how that looks. That's not bad, except I feel like they should be moving individually from each other. So what I'm gonna do is, I mean, let's just take a look at this for a second. I'm pretty happy with how this is going, I gotta admit. I do think that like that arm needs to be fixed, and I do think that, you know, maybe when the arm comes around, this arm here, when it comes around, it could even grab a piece of coal and then, you know, position for him to be looking at it, or even like flick it up. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I said I didn't want to take too long in this, and already I spent 3 hours recording myself doing this, and it's just like a few seconds of animation, but we'll get faster. So yeah, I don't hate it. I will say that I think what I want to do is I'll just duplicate it, because the actual motion and the rotation is good, but I'll call it left stash null, and I'll just offset it a little bit. So take the left stash and then the left stash 2, parent it to the left stash null, and then just offset by, let's see, 2 keyframes. Let's see how it looks. Feels a little bit more organic. The last thing I'll do is, and this might be way too much, is add a little bit of squash and stretch to the head. I know that I already have a bend going on, but if I just go to the scale, so let's just go to the end, and it would just look like this. But let's go here, and I feel like it would be, this may look so bad, but you know, you gotta test these things out. I'm just going to take these. Oh, I already have the ease selected, so I'm just going to ease it. And this might just look so bad. You can already see like the bended effect is cutting off the head a little bit. I don't even, is it different? Yeah, it's a little bit different. You see it just like sort of expand at the end. And just to give it a little bit more life, I think I'll just make it like, I'll have his eyebrows raise at this point. And I'll just give it like a little anticipation. So have it start by going down and then pop up, make it like pop up real high, and then a little bit of that. And I'm just going to highlight these and go to keyframe interpolation and just make sure that it's set to linear, or else it'll have this weird little jump. And I'm just going, I know that 2 frame, like this is not enough anticipation, I'm also going to adjust the curves to have it sort of bounce up quickly. And then come back down like that. And let's take a look how this looks. See, he looks a bit happier. I like the idea of him being a nice, happy character. You can't really see the anticipation too much, can you? Not really. It's like really exaggerated. We can do the nose as well. This might be totally unnecessary. But I'm just going to drag these up and then back to here. Whoops. And I'm going to copy the ease of these and just you know what I think that when he comes down for that right here is when that should all be happening. So I think I'm just going to drag these keyframes, just do that. I feel like the nose isn't, it's coming up a little bit too high for me, I think. I'm gonna drag them down just slightly because doing the, let's take a look. I mean, I'll let the viewers be the judge, but I think that looks pretty nice. I think it's coming together. And I gotta say, like, for somebody who hasn't done a lot of 3D head turns or 3D turns in After Effects, I think it's pretty nice. It's cool. Is that a fun character? I hope so. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I think I'll call the work on this for now done. I'll just save it. I think that, you know, for what I got, you could even add a bend to the mustache, but I don't know, I'm really, this end point shifting on me is kind of bugging me. I think I'm gonna drag it a little bit higher so it doesn't do that. There we go. Now that's a jolly man. I'm like getting so, like, now I'm like, oh, I feel like the hat needs to squash here. So maybe like, you see, like you could really just, you can go so far into detail on these things, adding squash and stretch to all sorts of elements. Maybe it raises a little bit, and he comes down, and it smashes down, and then it goes back to its position. I'll just easy ease those. This might be like way too much. It actually doesn't, it works pretty well, actually. You know, the devil's in the details. If you add a bunch of little details like that, I feel like it really, it's a lot, but it gives a lot of life to these things. Like, it just makes it feel so much more organic. And somebody might, you know, a critic might come along and say, oh, it's too bouncy, or there's too much motion, or whatever, but screw it. Like, enjoy it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the little, the hat wiggle. I think it does add, like, a little bit. I think the head turn came out pretty well. That's a fun character. I like that. Let's play the whole thing. I don't know if I actually even showed the whole thing during these streams, but what I'm doing basically is I'm animating an explain like I'm 5 question from Reddit. So I thought that would be a fun way to practice by taking somebody's question and then another person's short answer, and I'm giving full credit and putting their username into the I didn't stream any of the beginning animation, but putting the username in there, I'm adding the question, and then I have my own sort of interpretation of what this person might look like, and then I add another character, and then, you know, just animating what I feel like would be fun and in a way that's, you know, entertaining, at least to me, and helps me practice some fun character animation. So I'll just let it render, and I can kind of describe what I did with some of the earlier character stuff. This guy is much more simple. I didn't add too much going on to him, but I just, as I kept animating on this project, I've begun, you know, wanting to try more and more. But you can see, like, in that, I added a little bit of like a smear by just adding a shape layer in there, and you know, frame by frame, sort of keyframing the shapes. And then here's Stargate 525, and they were the first comment, and I made it be a little girl. I thought that would be kind of fun, making the little girl be the one explaining to the guy. And I didn't design that Steam engine. That's actually a stock, but I felt like it was fine, again, for this project. So this is now playing in real time. Jumps up. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty fun. Very bouncy. The character designs are pretty simple. Using a lot of Emmanuel Colombo's sort of design sensibilities, I feel like, for this, with the eyes and even the motion. But, you know, his course, Motion Secrets, is excellent, and really helped me take my character animation to the next level. But now I really have to just put in the practice. And also, I feel like, you know, you could animate his characters and you can follow along with exactly what he's doing, but I always feel like it's much more beneficial to work on your own projects and do something that you are much more interested in, or and you don't have to, but I feel like that helps you run into challenges that you might not learn just from following a tutorial, and it lets you play around with things. Like, I don't think he covers the head turn of a, you know, bearded character with a large nose, and this is something where now it's like, good, I have this experience now, and I've done it. And is it very good? I don't know, but I am pretty happy with the way it looks. I do feel like it's pretty fun, and you know, I'll continue documenting this character animation project, and hopefully eventually get to the end of this one video, and then go into the next one, and maybe it'll go faster now that I've done a little bit more character animation. So to those who didn't watch while live, thank you. I felt a lot less pressure. And then for people who watch it in the future, I hope that you got something out of it. I hope that following along with this will, inspire you and help you with your character animation, and hopefully you learn a few things. And, in the future, if anybody has any questions about how I approached anything, or if I didn't explain anything clearly, feel free to comment, reach out, and, I'll answer it as I continue to stream. But yeah, this is part 3. So thanks for watching. I'll just let this come to an end. Very nice. Okay. Thanks for participating with me.